So Kurt asks, one question, why have I heard a number of times, if it's not AFA Asatru, it's not Asatru? I am folkish and have been all my life. I have a lot of brothers and sisters that are members of the AFA, and I'm not. Well, so I want to step up and I want to own that, and I want to address that the best I can. And this isn't meant offensively, it's just being frank, and I think it is what it is. I think for a very long time, there is an endless cycle of everybody doing their own thing and nobody wanting to have hierarchy or any kind of orthodoxy on their practice, and just everybody do whatever you want. Do as you will. That's the whole of the law. And I think a lot of people in Asatru circles were doing that for a very long time. And the truth of it, that I believe in many cases, and anything I'm going to say here isn't 100% for every single practitioner, obviously. But I think the tendency to reject authority hasn't been because of some religious purpose. Deep down, it's been because people don't want anybody to tell them what to do. They want to do whatever they want and be able to justify it however they want, as opposed to being held to a standard by something external from themselves. And now we've seen that a lot. There's a lot of people that instead of being part of the AFA that's moving our faith forward, they want to stay by themselves or in their small backyard kindred. And then they can be the king of the 5 fat dudes in camp chairs arguing over the big piece of chicken, instead of just being a member of the AFA where we're actually moving Asatru forward. When the statement that if it's not AFA, it's not Asatru, I don't apply that to anybody over 70. There's people that were practicing Asatru before the modern version of the AFA that was established in 1995, and I don't take anything away from those people. But for all the folks now that just don't want to join the AFA, very seldom is it from a sincere religious difference. It's because they just want to be these rugged individuals. And the thing is, and I hate that I even have to think this way, but in the world that we live in today, we couch things in qualifying statements in order to seem super humble with it. I'm just going to be real. We've established, first, Steve McNallen is the man that established Asatru in its modern continuous context. There were people before him that started, and there were starts and stops. There was people like Alexander Rudd Mills that started something and then it stopped and died out, or Meister von List that started something that was kind of a proto-Asatru, and then it died out and lost momentum. But our founder, Steve McNallen, in 1968, started what we call modern Asatru. There was a couple people independent of him that started at a similar time, and I am aware of that, and I respect that. But everything we do today is because of the relationship that he started in 68 with the Allfather and the way that it's developed since then. That relationship, even his enemies admit that relationship existed, exists, and has moved Asatru to where it is today. We've been the steady thing in Asatru. First, Steve was that steady thing, and he made his way through life as a man with starts and stops. But settling down to the Asatru Folk Assembly in 1995, we've been here. We've been here consistently, and we've been moving forward steadily and consistently for almost, here in about 2 months, we will have been doing this for 28 years. And I say we, that's long before I joined the AFA. But we in a collective Asatru Folk Assembly sense. Everybody wants to make this about them, and everybody wants to quit and reinvent the wheel and build their own Asatru in their own image. And these starts and stops have really limited us as a folk. The AFA has been the torchbearer of the ICER, the standard bearer, this entire time since, like I mentioned, since 1995, always moving forward and continuing that gift cycle with our gods, building those relationships. We are the only people that, on the level of legitimate houses of worship, have established 4 temples to various Aesir. We've built temples, we've established temples to our gods. We've continued moving this forward. We have a decades-long, almost 3 decades-long gift cycle relationship with our gods, built upon a almost 53-year, almost 54-year relationship that Steve has built with the Allfather. There's a time where you have to draw a line in the sand and say, this is this and that is that. And we're at that time where the AFA is the voice of Asatru in the world. Are we perfect? No, not at all. But are we getting closer to perfection every year? Yes. Are we doing our very best to serve the Aesir? Yes. Are we the one organization that's been around for reasonable amounts of time that stays loyal to the Aesir? Yes. And I believe with all my heart that we have the authority to speak with their backing and to build Asatru with their approval. Our gods have poured out their blessings with that understanding, and I would never want to presume anything that we're not due. And so I feel I want to be cautious saying that, but I believe very strongly this is Asatru. We are doing it. We are building it. And other people, and don't get me wrong, it's not completely impossible for you to build some sort of relationship with the Aesir that doesn't involve the AFA. Of course it is. But this is the right way to go as far as the religion of Asatru. I'm sure there are individuals out there that have a relationship with our gods, but this is the way to do it right. And I speak that confidently because only unified in the AFA are we moving our faith forward to where we have something for our children, where we have something for their children, and where we're building this for our future. Outside of that, it's just not there. And anybody that fence sits at this point is wasting energy that could be put towards us all moving forward. And everything else on the side is a distraction. And I don't mean any offense by that. I'm just speaking completely honestly with something that I truly believe. Svan, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say troth, the idea of your troth, of your faith, of your devotion to the gods is not necessarily in question. The biggest important thing is understanding that when you look at our church, when you look at our folk, when you look at our people, when you look at the AFA, we have an inner guard. No one should be surprised at that concept at all. That's ridiculous to say that as the organization, as this gift cycle has been carried through decades, that there is an inner guard that these folk have. And if they stand on the parapets of their inner guard and they stand on the wall and they say, you can have troth out there or you can have troth in here, there's no wrong or should be no perceived kind of sense of like, those people are crazy. No, that's our inner guard. We defend it. We project it forward. We carry it forward. We have been for so long that it's kind of preposterous to say that. So what is being said is you have troth out there in the wilds or you have troth in the inner guard with us. And we just leave that, I think, in the open sense that you should consider bringing your troth into the inner guard with us, that we are moving forward, that there's this central point now. There's a center that's starting to grow and emanate. And the people that are defending it, the people that are putting in the time, people that are devoting their lives to it, are going to proudly say, our inner guard, is right. Our inner guard is good. Our inner guard is the way for our people. And I don't think anybody out in the outer guard of that should see that as preposterous. And there are people that I think are friendly to us, and I think there's people that you know don't take that as a personal offense. Perhaps they're still working out things in their lives, but then when they do come in, they notice there's no grievance, there's no hatred, there's people that have that have left, or people that have encountered the AFA and say and they go off and they do things, and then they come back and they're like, maybe I was wrong. And it's like, no, stop. You're here now. You're inside the guard. Let's move forward. What do you have? What do you know? What do you possess? Where does your trough lie? Let's expound on that. Add to the edge. Add to the growth of our inner guard. And I don't think that a lot of people realize that they have a lot of that contention because they don't pass through that threshold. And when they do pass through that threshold, they're absolutely surprised at I said this, right? I felt a certain way. And we're like, okay, yeah, that was in the past. Now you're here. You're here with us. Let's build a relationship inside the inner guard where it's protected and we can work at it. We can focus on it. We could see what you bring in and we can add more to it as we grow and create more foundation.
Something else to be said, and this is just real, brand integrity is a thing. As a faith, Asatru has to mean something. When everybody has their own little backyard version of what Asatru is to them, we lose cohesion and we lose legitimacy. When we're unified and when people want to know what is Asatru, this is what Asatru is, that makes us effective. And it's not just about us. That brings honor and dignity and reputation to our gods. When our gods have followers that want to go out and, just do their own thing and not be a productive part of community and not be part of anything, that doesn't move that forward. That doesn't build for our gods. That may help you for the way you want to live your life at the moment. That's not building a future for our children, for our race, and for our gods. We do that together, unified under the banner of the Trihorns. We are the ones who have succeeded. We're the ones who exist with success after all of the trying phases of Asatru in the early days. And those folks with 10 people here and 5 people there, if we all came together, we would be so much more effective in worship and bringing dignity to our gods and bringing legitimacy to our faith. Reputation means everything. It meant everything to our ancestors. Whether we admit it or not, it means everything to us and our success or failure. We succeed better together. And you mentioned that you are not a member of the AFA. And you don't have to answer this here, but I wonder, my question is why? If there are theological differences, I would encourage you to talk to your Gothi in your area and let's figure those out. If you don't meet our membership standards, that's a different issue. And if none of those things are holding you back, then we'd love to have you be part of what we're doing and part of moving us forward. We're not infallible. We're not perfect. But we're trying to be perfect. We're trying to move closer to perfection. And I feel like we're making progress towards that. It's a generations long, forever long process. But I think we're getting closer to our goal. And we'd love to have you and everybody else of our folk to be part of moving us towards that goal. We need you. We need all you guys.